One of the most important things that separates us from the rest of the world, that determines how far we go, how high we rise, is our ability to control our emotions. Now, it's easy to talk about controlling emotions when everything is going well. When life's smooth, when things are falling into place, when the sun is shining and you've got a good day. Well, sure, it's easy to stay calm, to stay collected. But when life throws you a curveball, when your plans don't work out, when you experience disappointment, now that's the test. I've been there before. I know what it's like to have things go wrong, to feel frustration, to face challenges that seem overwhelming. I've been in situations where I wanted to give in to those negative emotions, anger, fear, worry. But I'm telling you, giving in to those emotions will only take you further from your goals. It will cloud your judgment, rob you of your energy, and hold you back from making clear, rational decisions. The challenge in life is not that emotions come. The challenge is what we do when they show up. How do we respond? Because emotions, if you're not careful, can be like a storm. And when the storm blows through, if you're not anchored, it can blow you off course. How many times have you been in a situation where your emotions got the best of you? Where you reacted too quickly, said something you regretted, made a decision that wasn't the best because you let your emotions take over. It happens to all of us, but the key is learning to get better at managing those moments. It starts with awareness. You have to be aware of what's going on inside. You can't control what you don't acknowledge. Too often people are so caught up in reacting to life, they don't even realize they're letting their emotions run the show. They're upset, they're angry, they're fearful, and they just react. They're like a puppet being pulled by the strings of their emotions. But I'm here to tell you today, you can cut those strings. You don't have to be controlled by what you feel in the moment. Now let's talk about that word, control. What does it mean to control your emotions? It doesn't mean to suppress them. It doesn't mean to pretend you don't feel anything. It doesn't mean to become some kind of robot. No, that's not the point at all. To control your emotions means to guide them, to be in charge of how you respond to them, to recognize when an emotion is there, but not let it control your actions. It's like this. Imagine you're driving a car and your emotions are in the back seat. They're with you, sure, you can't throw them out of the car. But here's the key. They don't get to drive. You're the one behind the wheel. They might make some noise back there. They might try to get your attention. But at the end of the day, you decide where the car goes. You decide how fast or slow you go, and you decide when to turn. That's what it means to control your emotions. Now, some emotions are more challenging than others, aren't they? Fear is a big one. Fear has stopped more people from achieving their dreams than almost anything else. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. But here's the thing about fear. Fear is natural. Fear is there to protect you, but sometimes it goes too far. Fear is like an overprotective parent that doesn't want you to leave the house. What if something goes wrong, it says? What if you fail? What if you get hurt? But here's the thing. If you listen to fear, you'll never leave the house. You'll never step into the world of possibilities. When fear comes knocking, acknowledge it. Say, I see you. I know why you're here. But don't let it make the decisions for you. Remember, you're the driver, not fear. Fear can ride along, but it doesn't get to steer. Another big emotion is anger. How many times have we let anger get the best of us? How many relationships have been damaged? How many opportunities lost because someone let anger take over? Anger is like fire. It can consume everything in its path if you let it. But here's the thing about fire. It can also be controlled. It can be used for good. Anger, if controlled, can fuel change. It can push you to stand up for what's right, to defend yourself or others. But uncontrolled anger is destructive. You've got to learn to pause. That's the key. Pause. Take a breath. Step back. Before you react, give yourself a moment to think. When you pause, you give yourself the power to choose how you'll respond. It might sound simple, but I'll tell you, that pause can make all the difference in the world. It can save you from saying something in anger that you'll regret later. It can save you from making a decision out of frustration that will cost you dearly down the road. The pause gives you control. And what about sadness? What about those moments when life knocks you down and you feel defeated? When you've worked hard, you've given your best, and it still didn't work out. When you lose something or someone important to you. Those are tough moments. And it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to grieve, to feel the weight of the loss. But don't stay there. Don't unpack your bags and live in sadness. Feel it, yes, acknowledge it, but then make a decision to keep moving forward. Life is still happening, and there's still more ahead of you. One of the most powerful things you can learn to do is to shift your focus. When you're feeling overwhelmed by emotion, whether it's fear, anger, sadness, or frustration, shift your focus. Ask yourself, what else is true right now? Maybe you're upset about something, but what else is happening in your life that's positive? Maybe you're afraid of taking a step, but what's the opportunity on the other side of that fear? Emotions will often try to make you focus on just one thing, but life is bigger than that. There's always more going on, but you've got to look for it. I remember working with a young man in my early days. He was talented, driven, but he had a problem. His emotions were running his life. If something didn't go his way, he'd get frustrated and quit. If someone criticized him, he'd get angry and lash out. And he couldn't understand why he wasn't getting ahead. I sat him down one day and I told him, you've got to stop letting your emotions run the show. You've got the talent, you've got the drive, but until you learn to control your emotions, you're always going to be stuck. It took time, but he started to understand. He started to practice that pause, to shift his focus, and little by little, he gained control. And as he did, something amazing happened. His career took off. People started to trust him more. Opportunities came his way because people saw that he was steady, that he could handle the ups and downs without losing his head. That's the power of emotional control. It opens doors for you that you never even knew were there. But here's the thing. It's a lifelong practice. You don't just wake up one day and suddenly have perfect control over your emotions. No, it's something you work on every day. Every day, life will give you opportunities to practice. Someone will cut you off in traffic. Something will go wrong at work. You'll get frustrated with a friend or a loved one. And in those moments, you get to decide, will I react or will I respond? Reacting is what most people do. They feel something and they react instantly without thinking. But responding, that's different. Responding means you take a moment, you think it through, and then you choose how to act. That's emotional control. That's maturity. That's power. So, how do we develop this skill of responding instead of reacting? Well, one of the keys is to develop a mindset of calm. And how do you do that? By focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. So much of our emotional turmoil comes from trying to control things that are outside of our control. Other people, circumstances, the economy, the weather. But the truth is, the only thing you really have control over is yourself. Your thoughts, your actions, your responses. So when you find yourself getting worked up about something, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, then let it go. Focus your energy on what you can do and let the rest be. Your emotions are powerful, but you are more powerful. You are the one in control. You get to decide how you respond to life, how you handle the challenges that come your way. And when you learn to control your emotions, you'll find that life becomes so much more manageable. You'll have more energy, more clarity, and more peace. And that's a life worth living.